What's good, YouTube, and welcome back. Today we are going to be looking at the second deck coming out in the December set crossover breakers, Maliss. Maliss is a dark Cyberse archetype that revolves around banishing cards and summoning them back to the field and getting different effects. So this deck is the other deck other than Rizal that is super anticipated coming into the Anaheim December format. And today we're going to take a look at the cards and talk a little bit about what the deck is all about. So just a little background of some of the lore of Maliss, because you know me and I love my Yu-Gi-Oh lore. Maliss is based on Alice in Wonderland meets computer viruses meets chess. Yeah, it's a lot, but it makes sense. So the Maliss monsters are level 3 dark Cyberse monsters that when banished, you pay 300 life points to summon them back onto your board. And let's go through the cards. So the first monster is Maliss P Dormouse. And the P in the Maliss monsters' names, for those who do not know, stand for pawn, because they're the pawns. So Maliss P Dormouse reads, Maliss Link monsters that point to this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use the following effects of Maliss P Dormouse once per turn. During the main phase, you can banish one Maliss monster from your deck. Also, all Maliss monsters you control gain 600 attack this turn. If this card is banished, pay 300 life points. Special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Cyberse type monsters. The next monster is Maliss P White Rabbit, which reads, you take no battle damage involving Maliss Link monsters that point to this card. Also, you can only use each of the following effects of Maliss P White Rabbit once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can set one Maliss trap with a different name from cards in your graveyard. If this card is banished, pay 300, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Link monsters. And then the last one is Maliss P Chasmere Cat. It says any monster destroyed in battle with a Maliss Link monster that points to this card is banished. You can only use each of the following effects of Maliss P Chasmere Cat once per turn. During the main phase, you can banish one Maliss card from your hand. Then you can draw 2 cards. If this card is banished, pay 300 life points. Special summon this card. You cannot special summon from the extra deck except for Link monsters. So yeah, the only restriction on these cards is that they lock you into Link monsters when you special summon them back, but you don't really care. This is a Link Climby combo Cyberse pile deck, basically, with a little bit of identity because the deck has actual Link monsters and kind of revolves around their traps. For the other Maliss cards in the main deck, we play 3 of their field spell called Maliss and Underground. And it says, when this card is activated, you can banish one Maliss card from your hand, deck, or graveyard. While you have 3 or more banished Maliss traps with different names, Maliss Link monsters you control gain 3000 attack. This effect is super niche. You're never really going to have 3 traps banished unless you're specifically going for a line to OTK where you force that effect. And there are ways to banish your Maliss traps that we'll talk about. And it says, while you control any Maliss Link monsters, your opponent can only target those monsters for attacks. You can only activate one Maliss and Underground once per turn. So an excellent field spell. It is a starter. It is one of your weaker starters in your deck because you start off by banishing a name, so you're down 1 extender for the rest of your turn. But it is a starter card, being able to banish a Maliss monster directly from your deck in order to get your play started. And it is an extender because on your turns 2 and 3, you can banish Maliss monsters from your graveyard in order to start your plays up again on your follow-up turns. Then, for the 3 Maliss trap cards that are available, we play 1 of each. We play 1 Maliss CGWC06, and it says you can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing 1 face-up Maliss monster you control. Special summon a Maliss monster from your graveyard or banishment. Then if you control a Maliss Link monster, you gain life points equal to the summon monster's original attack. You can only activate 1 of this card once per turn. So that's kind of the gimmick of the Maliss trap cards, is you can activate activate them the turn they're set by banishing one of your Maliss monsters. And this creates some mind games in actual gameplay, which is kind of cool to actually see, because a lot of the times when you're playing Maliss or playing against a Maliss player, before they commit to their first summon, you usually see them set a card and then summon a card, because if that set is a trap and you use some sort of targeting disruption on that normal summon via Imperm, a Feg Veiler, or like a Book of Moon, whatever, just something to target to remove or negate the effect of the Maliss monster, then they can chain the trap card to banish the monster for cost, resolve the effect, and get a bonus effect from the actual trap card. So it creates a level of mind games that, okay, my Maliss opponent set a card and then normal summoned a Dormouse. Is the set actually one of the trap cards, or is it just a set imperm that they're doing in order to bluff it, so I won't imperm this, you know, because I don't want to waste my imperm? So it creates a certain level of mind games that's kind of interesting. The next trap is Maliss C MTP07, and it says you can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing a face-up Maliss monster you control. Add one Maliss monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you control a Maliss Link monster, you can banish one card on the field. So again, a Rhoda, and it also banishes a card on the field if you control a Maliss Link. This is one of your main forms of disruption on the opponent's turn, but keep in mind that this card can be Ash Blossomed, so the cards aren't necessarily perfect, but it's very layered forms of disruption, coming from the back row, coming from the front row, coming from the graveyard, and it's an all-around great card. And the last card is Maliss C TB11, and has the first effect. You can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing a face-up Maliss monster you control. And it says special summon one Maliss monster from your deck, or if your opponent has 3 or more cards, special summon a Maliss Link monster from your extra deck instead. The summoned monster can't attack or activate its effects this turn. So, yeah, mainly you're going to be using this effect in order to summon a monster from your deck. If you summon from the deck, the monster can use its effects, but when you summon from the extra deck, it can't. It has the additional restrictions on the card. But the card is a great card. It's one of your starting plays. You usually it's the card that you usually want to set off of your White Rabbit when you're starting with White Rabbit in order to get your play started. And it's just a great card. Then for the 3 Maliss extra deck monsters, we have Maliss Q Red Ransom. The Q in their name stands for Queen. And it says it takes 2+ monsters, including a Maliss monster. And it says, while this card points to a monster, switch the attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls. So this effect is very relevant. Very, very relevant. Some of your boards seem a little bit smaller, but when you summon Red Ransom onto the board and your opponent's monster's attacks and defense start getting swapped, then it turns off the battle phase as a threat in order to force interaction, because all their monsters are little, and usually your monsters are gaining some form of attack from different card effects. But I digress. It also says you can only use each of the following effects of Red Ransom once per turn. If this card is special summoned, add one Maliss spell card from your deck to your hand. At the moment, we only have one Maliss spell card, being the field spell, so this card searches the field spell on summon. Whenever it's special summoned, keep that in mind. So it doesn't have to be link summoned. If you summon it from the graveyard or the banishment, which we're about to talk from, it searches the field spell. And it says if this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon this card, then banish one Cyberse monster from your deck. So this card's amazing. It searches an extender on summon, and when it's banished, it summons itself and gets you an additional body. Via either another Maliss name that you haven't used, or a card like Dotscaper, which a lot of people play in their Maliss deck as just a free extender off of the Red Ransom. The Red Ransom replaces itself with itself and gets you a Dotscaper. So it's like a +2. Usually the cards, it's a great card. The second Maliss Link monster is Maliss Q Whitebinder. Again, same summoning requirements. It takes 2+ monsters, including a Maliss. And it says when this card is special summoned, you can target up to 3 cards in any graveyards, banish them. During your main phase, you can set one Maliss trap from your deck or graveyard. Then it says if this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points, special summon this card, then you can draw one card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is a great card. Being able to set up traps from your graveyard or deck, and then banishing cards, that is a form of interaction, because you can use 06 in order to summon it back during the opponent's turn, which is a common play. Banish cards from your graveyard, banish cards from your opponent's graveyard, and then start snowballing from there. It's a great card all around. Definitely a card that helps push the archetype. And then the main cover card for this archetype is Maliss Q Hearts of Crypt. And this one, its summoning requirement is a little bit different. It takes 3 monsters, including a Maliss, so it's a little bit harder to summon. And it says, quick effect, you can target a card. You can target one of your banished Maliss cards, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, banish a card on the field. This effect's activation or effect cannot be negated if it points to a monster. If this card is banished, pay 900 life points to special summon this card, and if you do, its attack becomes doubled. You can only use each effect of Hearts of Crypt once per turn. So, yeah, great card. When it's banished, instead of giving you some form of an advantage, it just becomes really big. It just becomes a 5k beater, which is relevant. It helps you OTK in a lot of lines. But yeah, all around, I would say that this deck is definitely a solid contender going into the next format. It's mainly a Link Climb deck using cards like Splash Mage, the Firewall Engine, etc, etc. If you guys want to see more on Maliss, more of a combo video, definitely like this video and look out for my crossover breaker spreadsheet that I will be releasing right before YCS Anaheim at the end of November. So definitely look out for that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great one.